Dr. Ritamarie, I am so super excited that you are doing this Facebook Live with us, because I am so excited that you're going to give us the heads up on some of the truths around sugar. Because what I'm seeing in the supermarkets right now is people are loading up their trolleys with sugar, candy, lollies, gets like all of these products that aren't actually going to help them with their immune systems and help them fight coronavirus. So the really exciting thing about this is that we can be informed at this point and be really proactive and make the best decisions with our health and diet as much as possible. And Dr. Ritamarie is like sugar queen, sugar expert, sugar. Like when I hang out with Dr. Ritamarie, I get inspired, and I got to be in Hawaii with her earlier this year, holidaying with her and her husband, because you always want to eat better. Like, I think that I eat really well until I hang out with Dr. Ritamarie, and then I'm like, I can up level. Like, she's like, Shelley, like, why are you not putting Brazil nuts in your pesto too? Like, you get your selenium out of your pesto. So she is the sort of friend and doctor that you want in your life always. And so Dr. Ritamarie, please, I'll ask you questions, but just start wherever you want to around what happens with viruses and sugar to begin with.
Yeah. So it really bothers me because I watch the people on TV and they're saying, wash your hands and stay away from people, which is all good. We have to prevent contact, right? You reduce your exposure. Totally important. But then they're not saying, stop eating sugar, right? Start eating more vegetables, or drink vegetable juice, get your vitamin C. They're not saying those things, probably because their paid sponsors would shoot them if they did, and they'd stop being paid sponsors when you say, don't eat the crackers and cookies and candies and pies. But the truth of the matter is sugar depletes your immune system. Sugar creates cravings so that you just want more sugar. So it's not like you could just have a little bit. Who do you know that can just have a little bit of sugar? No, they want to have more and more and more, right? So it depletes the immune system. So there were some studies, actually, Linus Pauling showed that when you eat sugar, it decreases the capacity of the white blood cells, which are the infection gobbling up cells, to actually utilize vitamin C. And they need vitamin C in the process of being effective. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this was very interesting, and this is kind of getting geeky science, but the sugar has a similar molecular structure to vitamin C. So what it does is it gets in the way, like it confuses the white blood cells. So they start pulling up the sugar instead of the vitamin C. The vitamin C helps them. The sugar doesn't. And there are studies that showed that a dose of sugar for the immune system can last it could be up to 6 to 8 hours, depending on how high a dose is. But typically the amount that most people are eating in their treats and their ice cream and their soft drinks is going to deplete the immune system 40 to 60% for up to 5 or 6 hours.
So can we pause on this, because this is key?
Yes.
First thing, because you said a couple of great things here. So first thing is, when you eat sugar, we're depleting the immune system for 4 to 6 hours, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, as natural health practitioners, and a lot of people just know in general, take vitamin C to boost your immune system. So what we're seeing is right about now, a lot of people are dosing up on vitamin C, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than the people in our programs and seeing all their functional medical doctors and functional practitioners, most of the general public right about now is increasing their vitamin C. And from what I'm seeing in the supermarkets, increasing their sugar content.
Right. And sugar's not just sugar. So sugar is flour. Flour is sugar. It gets treated in the body the same way. So the crackers and
So it's all the kind of white products. Is that what we're kind of talking about? Like the white flours, the biscuits, like anything. Okay.
Whole grain products too. Once they're made into flour, it takes structurally breaks down the fiber, and it enters the bloodstream as quickly as sugar.
Oh, okay. So, Ritamarie, we need to even pause on that. We haven't even talked to really gone into what's happening on your cells. Are you talking about, so are we worried about almond flour, coconut flour, like all of these alternative flours too?
Not almond and coconut, because those are fats. There's no starch in them, but it's the starchy flours like the whole wheat and the millet and the quinoa, which are good foods, at least the millet and quinoa, when eaten as whole foods. But when you break them down into flour and then you put them into the oven and you bake them, problematic. I will say though, and this is where I have, I always say things that are not well taken sometimes. But I'm going to say, I got to speak the truth, is that I'm concerned about almond flour muffins and cookies and that kind of stuff. And coconut, not as much. Almond is a lot of omega-6 fat, a lot of omega-6. Omega-6 fats are very heat sensitive. When people are just eating a lot of almond stuff, they're getting too much omega-6, which is inflammatory. And we don't want to be feeding our inflammation at this time. We want to be dampening the inflammation at this time. But when you heat omega-3 or 6 fats, they're very delicate, about 118 degrees, which is much lower than the typical baking temperature. The fats oxidize. It's a little different for like olive oil, which has like in the 200s, or coconut oil, which might be in the 300s, but those omega fats. So I'm opposed to making those keto treats that are muffins and made with almond flour.
Wow, thank you so much. See, we're getting so much from Ritamarie. This is like quick fire.
They're going to get me out of here because they don't want to hear what I have to say.
I love it, Ritamarie. This is awesome. Okay, so that's our little sidebar. Back on the sugar and the vitamin C. So if you're eating sugar and vitamin C at the same time, your cells are getting confused. Is that correct? And they're pulling in the sugar as well as the vitamin C.
Yeah, but probably there's a competitive thing going on. And so they're more likely to pull in the sugar than the vitamin C. Or they're competing. So you're not going to get as much of the vitamin C in there.
So really, even if people don't want to give up sugar forever, now is the time, like while we're trying to get be proactive, when we're trying to be anti-inflammatory, now is the time really, especially as soon as you get a cough or a cold or just coming into winter over here in New Zealand, you want to ditch the sugar.
Absolutely ditch the sugar. There's no point to it. There's no nutrient value to it. It's pure sugar. It's pure glucose. And in order for glucose to be converted to energy in our cells, into ATP by the mitochondria, so a lot of big words here, but in order for that to happen, you require a lot of B vitamins, especially niacin and riboflavin, and some other minerals. And those are depleted in the sugar products. So if you eat like a whole grain, you are going to get those B vitamins. So it will provide you with energy better. But with the sugar, it actually has to draw on your storage forms of those nutrients to pull it in. And oftentimes you can't effectively convert the sugar into nutrition, into energy, if you don't have the right nutrition. Right. And that's just if the sugar gets into the cells. Then we can talk about insulin resistance. Insulin resistance. Yeah. So when you eat a lot of sugar, you produce insulin, a hormone that the pancreas secretes to escort the sugar into the cells. So when you eat a lot of the sugar, make a lot of insulin.
When we're saying lots of sugar, though, Dr. Ritamarie, can we break that down in terms of just for general public? How much are we meaning? Like, are we talking about a tablespoon? Are we talking about 5 tablespoons? Because a lot of us can think that means like 20 tablespoons, and we're not doing that. But that's not reality.
It means eating like the standard American diet, which is, bagels or croissants for breakfast with orange juice and maybe a half a grapefruit, lots of sugar. And then lunch is some kind of sandwich again, or a wrap, right? And then you may have cookies or candy, or, even a bite of some kind of cookie throughout the day. A lot of starchy foods, a lot of sugary foods. That's my doggy.
So you're still in this conversation, because a lot of New Zealanders as well don't necessarily think of a sandwich as being healthy. So we're still meaning starchy foods like our sandwiches are contributing to the sugar count. So it doesn't have to be candy and biscuits. It's still the sandwiches and the wraps and all these other things.
Yeah. And so that's the standard diet. The standard diet is a lot of starch.
Yeah.
And a lot of sugar. And that's what it is. And over the time, right? I would say if you feed your kids candy, that's sugar. If you let them eat candy 2 or 3 times a week, that's too much sugar. And what that does is every single time it causes a rise in the sugar, a rise in the insulin. And we're even seeing kids develop insulin resistance as kids. Used to be we didn't, until they had years and years of accumulation. But we're depleting, we're damaging the insulin receptors, because insulin is damaging to the cells in excess amounts. So the right amount of insulin, just the right amount to take the sugar into the cells, is not damaging. But once we get into higher levels, then what happens is that the insulin gets in the way of thyroid function. It increases peeing out the minerals, right? It decreases absorption. It can increase blood pressure. It affects the sex hormones. It affects everything if it's excess. And most people are running around with excess.
So how do people know that they're running around with excess insulin, like that the insulin's not coming into their cells properly? Like, what are symptoms we're talking about here that the average person is going to be experiencing?
Yeah, so belly fat, a little extra weight around the middle, even in a thin person. Foggy brain, like difficulty focusing, low energy. You need coffee to keep you going, get you going in the morning and keep you going throughout the day. Those mid-afternoon energy slumps. Feeling hungry after you finish a whole meal, going, I need something sweet now. Mm-hmm. That's a sign. Cravings, those are signs. Exhaustion, right? All of those things are signs that that's out of balance.
And so if you are experiencing those symptoms and if you are on the way to insulin resistance, which leads to diabetes, like further down, what is that doing in terms of inflammation in our bodies, and how is it compromising our immune system?
It is definitely compromising our immune system. It is increasing the inflammation. It increases a chemical called C-reactive protein, which is a highly inflammatory marker that people test for. The unfortunate thing is that nobody's testing for insulin. You can actually test somebody for insulin. Same way you test their cholesterol and triglycerides and liver enzymes, test them for insulin. And we really should be testing people, not waiting till they're diabetic. Because by the time you get diabetic, you already damaged yourself for 30 years.
And you mean when you're testing for insulin, are you meaning, because I know that you've got your group and that you're amazing, like you've got all these amazing clients and practitioners around the world that you help. So are you meaning when you teach them through your programs that you do a blood test for insulin, or you're meeting like with blood glucometers? We
do both. We do a blood glucose meter like this. But we also have them go and get the blood drawn, because you can't do insulin through your finger prick. You have to get it drawn. You go to the lab, you get it drawn. It's about a $35 test in the States. I don't know how that translates in about the same. So you get that tested, and fasting insulin should be pretty low, because when you're fasting, you don't need insulin. You only need insulin after you've eaten. So the fasting insulin should be somewhere between 2 and 5, ideally 2 to 3. And that's good, right? And then when you eat, it shouldn't go much higher than, say, 10 to 12, unless you're eating a pure sugar meal, in which case it's going to go higher. But fasting is a really good indicator. I had tested somebody last week, and she was at a 60 fasting.
60.
Yeah.
Whoa, Ritamarie. Was she shocked?
She wasn't, because she has high blood sugar. She has her hemoglobin A1C is elevated. She's been, taking diabetic medication for a long time. That's on diabetes medication. So, we had a heart-to-heart talk about this has to be handled.
Wow. So testing your insulin, like through a blood test, how often do you recommend that? Like yearly, monthly, like?
It depends. No, not monthly for sure, unless it's someone who has elevations, and then we do some dietary changes. Then maybe after a couple of months, we test it again. But in general, I would say routine testing. If it's abnormal at any point in time, then it's more regular. Like every year would be the way you go. And abnormal meaning it's starting to creep up. So say it starts out when you're 18 and it's 5, and then when you're 25, it's 10. No, you should be testing it every year, and you should be doing things to help bring it back down. It's crazy because nobody's testing this until even after people are diabetic, a lot of them aren't getting this tested. They're only testing it when somebody's been on diabetes medication for a long time, and they're thinking, this medication may not be working. We may need to get you on insulin. So let's test your insulin.
Wow, Ritamarie, that's serious. And what we're seeing in New Zealand is a lot of the media around to who's susceptible to coronavirus is people, diabetics, right? So why is that? Can you give us a little explanation of why they're more susceptible to coronavirus? What's happening for them?
Well, diabetics notoriously have depleted immune systems. When the sugar goes above 120, most people are running around with that every day. it's just significantly decreasing the uptake of vitamin C into the white blood cells, significantly decreasing immune function at just 120, right? Diabetics, they have it much higher. Their fasting is at 120, right? During the day, they're going way up into the 200s.
And what are the white blood cells doing for us when it comes to inflammation, when it comes to viruses?
Yeah, so the white blood cells are a line of defense. Think of it as the old Pac-Man game. You're probably too young to remember.
I remember it was my favorite game, Dr. Ritamarie. Pac-Man. Yep.
That's basically it. The macrophages are the part of the types of white blood cells that gobble up the infection. And we need to have enough of them to be the first line of defense. Boom, 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 grab them. And it basically paralyzes them.
So is there things we can be doing to support, if the white blood cells are so important to us in terms of fighting infections, what can we be doing? Do they need special foods? Do they need special lifestyle things? Like obviously get out the sugar. Get
off the sugar and the starch, decrease stress, because stress affects that a lot. If the cortisol will decrease the immune function. And when we're stressed out, like panicking over coronavirus, we're actually making ourselves more susceptible. So we need to do those sorts of things.
That, Ritamarie, because that's a key point. When we're stressed, we're making ourselves more susceptible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what people are doing. And that's what the news media is kind of there for, is to make us all stressed out. Yeah. So we need to, meditate. I taught right at the beginning. I've done 3 webinars in the last 2 days, and I'm doing 2 more tomorrow, all about this topic of sugar and the immune system, and how the sugar, out of balance sugar can be contributing to so many diseases. And we start the process off with what we call heart math. It's a meditation kind of breathing thing that combines breathing and appreciation that helps to shift your body from sympathetic, which is fight, flight, and that's lots of cortisol. That's the stress mode that most people are in, to parasympathetic, which is the more calm and relaxed, and that's where all the healing happens. And so we teach people how to go from sympathetic, stressed, to parasympathetic in healing mode like that. And it works great.
So really what you're saying, Dr. Ritamarie, is there's a lot of things that we can be doing at home to take a proactive approach to our health in general and a proactive approach to coronavirus. Like if meditation and breathing and mindfulness really boosts our white blood cells and brings down inflammation in our body, that's just a great practice to be doing daily, no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I was always a person who couldn't meditate. I'd read about it and I'd try, and I stressed myself out more trying to meditate than if I never meditated at all. And so what I did was I would either try it and then not do it, or feel guilty that I couldn't do it for long enough or often enough or whatever. So when I found heart math, and I discovered that I could just take these little mini vacations, I call them mini vacations, throughout the day. And I go to the beach. I actually just close my eyes and I put my hands over my heart, and I just envision I'm on the beach, and the waves are coming over me, and the sand feels warm, and the sun is yummy warm, and it shifts like that. It shifts.
Who doesn't want to go to the beach with Dr. Ritamarie doing their mindfulness? I'm there with you. And I can tell you, after being away with Dr. Ritamarie, she does do her mindfulness and meditations every single morning. I'd get a message when she was starting to do it, and then when we could come out and chat, she'd started doing it. So it's totally a practice that you do 100% implement. And it's something that all of us can do at home in general. And it's just good lifestyle health. So Dr. Ritamarie, you touched on a key point with the different fats, right, in terms of heating them and stuff. What are there some anti-inflammatory foods so obviously we want to get out the sugar, we want to get out the starches at the moment, and you're doing like webinars around this at the moment, right? Helping clients and helping people around the world be able to do this. Like you're really actively supporting your community, but the wider world with great strategies that I love watching. I love watching all of Dr. Ritamarie's videos. I'm a #1 fan. What other things are there? Different foods in terms of not just for viruses, not just for the immune system, but are there some really key anti-inflammatory foods like that?
Yeah. So ginger and turmeric, they've gotten a lot of press lately. Garlic is more antiviral than anti-inflammatory, but it's a great thing right now. And I've been making a little immune beverage in the morning, and I put in lemon juice and apple cider vinegar, and then I put in ginger, fresh ginger and turmeric and garlic, sprinkle in some cayenne, and then I add vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A, because those are important for the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on what mood I'm in or what I've got around or what I feel like throwing in there, I'll throw something else in there. Oh, I throw some essential oils, usually oregano and a combination blend that's immune and lemon, and put them all in there because they support the immune system. And then there we go. And I blend it up and I drink it.
And if you don't want to do what Rita Marie's doing, when I was away with her in Hawaii, she puts all of that stuff, minus maybe the apple cider vinegar, into a smoothie. Like for the very first time, I've never put ginger or garlic into my smoothie. I've done it as juices and I've done it as hot drinks. But when I was away with Rita Marie, suddenly we were having, and I've made that a daily practice. Like it's so easy. Once you just said it, I was like, well, why haven't I been doing that forever?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Right. So a lot of these things are just really awesome daily practices that we stack and just get good nutrition from all of our food, right?
Right.
Dr. Rita Marie, is there anything else sugar-wise that you want to share with us in terms of the damage or whatever?
Yeah. So think about this. Like when somebody becomes diabetic, we hear a lot about the complications, right? They lose their eyesight. They get kidney damage. They get peripheral neuropathy, which sometimes people have to have toes amputated because they don't feel them and they get so injured and infected that they have to cut them off. And it's sad. So the sugar actually damages the red blood cells as well. There's something that you can measure called hemoglobin A1C. And it's what's the percentage of those red blood cells that are coated in sugar. And normal, because it's floating in sugar, is about 4.5 to 5%. And in diabetics that are considered controlled diabetic, it's 7. Anything over 5.6 is considered your insulin resistance. And anything in the 6s is diabetic. So once that happens, you have all this damage going around. And think about these red blood cells that get stiff and brittle, and they cause damage to the blood vessel linings. In addition, insulin stiffens it. So when you eat a lot of sugar, it causes insulin to go up, and insulin stiffens those linings. And those stiff linings, right, with sharp red blood cells running through, and then you decide you have to run to catch the bus, and you need a burst of blood through, heart attack waiting to happen. And we don't know unless we test and unless we're really careful about what we put in the body. So it's dangerous long term.
It's dangerous and it's serious.
Yeah, so it's very serious.
Is it what I'm hearing is it's the buildup. Like it's the daily buildup. It's kind of like plaque on your teeth, but in a different way with plaque on your cells almost. Whereas the buildup. If we're not being proactive, if we're not being preventative, people get that with their teeth. But, like we know that they will lose teeth. We understand that. We've got the dental industry telling us that that's the way it is. But the same thing's happening with our cells. And like you say, it's the buildup. And then when we need energy quick, smart, like running for the bus, that's when we see, and by then it's kind of not too late because you're not dead, but it's kind of like
you could be dead, right? That's the thing. 50% of people with heart disease, do you know what the first symptom is?
No, tell us.
Death from a heart attack.
The symptom of heart disease is death.
Yeah, and 50% of people, a little bit more for women. It happened to both my parents. They had no idea they had heart disease. Now, if they had been testing the ways I teach to test, testing their hemoglobin A1C, testing their insulin levels, testing what we call an advanced lipid panel, we would have known. But the average doctor's not doing that. They're just letting people know.
This is serious. And no wonder you're so passionate, and no wonder you're like, there is no time to mess around with this, because it's personally impacted your parents, it's impacted your siblings, like it's impacted you personally, and you've got that story and that passion because you actually don't want it to happen to anybody else.
No.
And it's 100% preventable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying, right? 50% of
50% is the first time. So what if we were able to test these folks and give them the right lifestyle choices to make? It's all about choices. You know that, Shelley. We make choices every day. Do we go to bed now or stay up and party with our friends, right? Well, this go to bed now is going to support you in being healthier. The other is going to give you instant gratification, but and maybe there's something you can find that's an in between. Well, maybe you just stay up and have a nice quiet conversation with your friends instead of going out to the bar and partying, right? Although nobody's going to the bars now, but
I know, right? We've eliminated that one, Dr.
We eliminated that one. So, yeah, but I think that we get to make choices, and every choice matters. I just did a whole series, and it's still available. It'll be available till March 31st for free. And it's called Choosing Longevity, www.choosinglongevity.com.
Will you send me the link that I can share out with everyone? Because that is so important, that master course that you have done. Because like you say, it's about choosing longevity. And I think this is a key point where amongst all this carnage with coronavirus, we get to choose our health. We actually can just age. We're all getting older. Like that just happens every single day, whether we choose to or not, it's happening. But we can actually choose the health that we want as we age and when we're older. Like we can choose what we're willing to accept in terms of symptoms, what we're willing to accept in terms of our health decline, or we can proactively pick, like you say, longevity and feel amazing until I just want to die in my sleep one night, like my Nana did.
Yeah, at 150,
exactly.
Or at least, right? And I have in the 5th video of that, each video has a different theme. One is on insulin, the first one, and then the second one is on sugar cravings, and the biochemistry behind it. It's a lot of great stuff in there. The 3rd one's on keto, the 4th one's on fasting and intermittent fasting, and the 5th one is on longevity practices. And I show these people in there who are in their 80s, 90s, 100s that are still like fit and active and teaching yoga classes and running in races and winning, medals and this sort of stuff, that we don't have to accept the traditional thought. And there's even a study I found, bunch of studies I found actually, that talked about how if we believe that aging means getting decrepit and getting sick, that's what's going to happen for us. But if we believe that doesn't happen, I have control, I can choose, then we have more of a chance. We add that to the diet lifestyle choices.
Harriet's just commented that she's totally choosing longevity. Ritamarie, you totally need a hashtag choose longevity or something to get this conversation going internationally. I wonder
if we have one already, because we've been promoting.
That's what I mean. You need a hashtag so that we can all get on and be like, choose longevity.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the thing. Like, I think the empowering thing with this virus and it being a worldwide thing is all of us coming together, but all of us actually now proactively getting to choose. Like, we're being forced to wake up and say, hey, are we okay to accept these symptoms? Are we okay to say that that's fine and I'm just going to continue on with the life that I was on? Or is this a wake-up call where we can go, actually, we want to choose longevity. Actually, we want to choose the best health possible. Actually, we want to make decisions today that will give us greater rewards in the future. Like, I get it that the chocolate and the everything else, the refined sugar, the refined carbs, it's the quick, easy option. But what is it doing to our bodies in the long term?
Bingo. And I want to just say, you can eat this way and eat a way that supports you without giving up chocolate.
100%.
Okay?
You have a great time. And like, clients always ask me, and probably you too, Ritamarie, and when we go away, it's like, they're like, well, are you miserable eating the way you're eating? Like, and I'm like, no, I love my life. Like, when me and Ritamarie were in Hawaii, we were having the best food possible. Like, the spreads and the dips that we were able to have and all the nutrition. Like, you just feel so good. It's like, how could you not want to do this?
Yeah. And then we were on the beach for hours running and going, how far did maybe we should turn around. What do you think? Not because we're tired, but because we're going, it's been a while. Should we turn around and go back? Maybe we should turn around. It's lunchtime already, that sort of stuff. And that's what I want for everybody. I want you to have this energy and vitality well up into your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s and beyond.
100%. Like, we totally agree with that, both of us. So quickly though, Ritamarie, how do you keep eating chocolate then and not eat sugar?
So you mix chocolate with good stuff. So chocolate with coconut cream, and you sweeten it with
chocolate though. Are you meaning chocolate or cacao?
Powder, just pure raw cacao, or these little blocks that are just 100%. You can get them 100% baking squares, but 100% raw cacao. Best to raw because it hasn't been heated and, destroyed and damaged. But if you can't get that, you get other. And then you add like coconut butter to it. Mix that together. And then you can add stevia, vanilla, mint, whatever you want. I have a ton of recipes for it. Yeah. Go to my blog.
Yeah, are they on your blog? Because you have so many.
Just look for chocolate or cacao on my blog. Just go to drritamarie.com/blog and look up the recipes. I've got a Mounds bar recipe on there. I have a coconut peppermint patty recipe on there. I have all kinds of great chocolates. I did a webinar earlier today, and I have a picture in there. And you think you're going to be deprived if you eat this way? So I showed a picture of pizza. You've had my pizza.
Oh, pizza. That's amazing. They're the best pizzas. I wouldn't go back to normal pizza after having a Dr. Ritamarie pizza.
Good for you. It's good stuff. Now I'm going to go, maybe I should go make myself pizza after this long week. I make cauliflower crust, and, I can either make the cauliflower crust or buy them. So you make the pizzas. I make Italian food I use cashews and macadamia nuts to make cheese. I made cannolis. So these pictures I'm showing people and going, so you think you're going to be deprived if you eat healthily? How about this stuff? What do you think? Here's my cheesecake. Here's my, whatever.
And do you know what? I feel like personally, and just seeing it, the biggest lie we get sold about being healthy is that it's going to be deprived. Like, nobody wants stuff taken off them, me and you either. Like, that's just a natural thing. It's a human instinct. We never want to feel deprived. Why do you think natural instinct is hibernation? The bears go in with their honey or their food or whatever. We want to take things. And that's what we're seeing at the moment with coronavirus and all the supermarkets clearing their shelves. Nobody wants to be deprived, so everyone's stockpiling things.
Yeah.
But the lie that we're being told when we go healthy or when we have this healthy lifestyle is suddenly people equal health with deprivation. And that's not what we're about.
That's totally not true. I don't want to be deprived. I never want to be deprived.
Why would we do it if we're just going to get deprived, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So you can eat really well. I've got tons of resources out there. You feel so good. Like, how if you binge on chocolate ice cream or you go get some chocolate chip cookies and you go, I wanted these, but now I don't feel so hot. You can eat this food and feel great. I sneak in broccoli sprout powder into my chocolates. I sneak in cordyceps mushroom. I sneak in all kinds of stuff. And then kids will eat them and be getting all kinds of good nourishment and not be bouncing off the walls.
100% Rita Marie. Just before we let you go and have your Friday night, because it's Friday for you over there, any other tips re sugar or anything else that we need to be worried about with sugar causing inflammation, coronavirus? Any other lasting words for us?
Stop eating it. And it's not just what you stop, it's what you start. So you need to be eating lots of veggies. And that's the thing when we go to the supermarkets. I asked my husband, because I didn't go out to the store. He goes out and he comes back with all this great produce. I said, well, the shelves are supposed to be empty. He goes, oh yeah, all the dried stuff is gone, but there's plenty of veggies.
Totally.
Go buy the veggies.
So I'm saying to everyone too, the fresh food is fully stocked. There's no problem with that on the shelves.
And if you can't get it fresh, so I told him, well, just buy a whole bunch of kale and we'll make kale chips from it. So we did. We made a bunch of kale chips from it. So now we have that in case it runs out. But if it does, sprouting seeds. You take broccoli sprouts and you make all kinds of seeds, and they're so easy to make and so inexpensive. So you never need to be without. And green powders, in worst case, you can get. Z Natural Foods has, I don't know what over there does. Maybe there's some places over in New Zealand that do too. But broccoli sprout powder, kale powder, broccoli powder. And you can just add this to your drinks and you can make a milkshake that has these amazing greens in it. So build up your body, antioxidants and vitamin C and D and A and all that kind of stuff.
It's so true. I love what you say about building up your body. It's not deprivation. We don't have time to be deprived, Rita Marie. We're so busy building up our bodies. I never think to myself, I'm missing out. I'm like, no. Like, we've got so many things to pack in.
I know.
It's exciting and it's fun. And it's a time to use this as a creative challenge. See what you can put in. See new ways and exploring new ways of eating. Try new recipes. Get connected. Share it. Choose longevity, Watch all of Rita Marie's videos because she's just a powerhouse of information, and it's science research based, really amazing information. So I'll share those links so that people can.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
Because it's such a great video series, and in that you really do share the impact of what's happened with your family on your life and your calling and your mission of why you're so passionate about this and why there is no gray with you. It's black or white because you've seen the impacts.
I have seen the impact, and that's why. And that's really true. And it's not black or white in the sense that you have to be dogmatic and like we said, get out of pleasure. No, you still are in pleasure, but yeah.
Dr. Ritamarie, thank you so much for your time for us this morning on a Saturday morning and your Friday evening. This was really informative and really empowering. And just thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Thanks for inviting me here. I love talking about this.
I know you.
So good to see you. Bye-bye.
Oh, it's so nice to see you too, Ritamarie.